I've only ever seen like horses give birth, and you have to like pull the baby out of that.
I think gravity helps a bit with
Or grass.
Anyways, so we're ready to start this thing. All right, so once again we're on case 5. Oh, this thing that we first read. Yeah, it was part of it. You were there for that, right?
Yeah.
Everybody was there.
That they had all the amendments.
Yeah. All right. This is case 5 or investigation 5. The Serpent's Vengeance. It is October 21st, so we do not get June and August. So that's good. This is September. This is 29, so we don't get this one. 37, no.
Do you have any more pens, pencils?
I have a pen and pencil.
No, we're using those.
Yes, you're using them.
Okay.
Why, is that pen out ink?
No.
No, we're
Okay.
just going to share it, I guess.
Yeah.
November 21st, what year?
October 21st, 1929. Investigation 5, The Serpent's Vengeance. Players will be using the requirement and new rule, delay.
Wait.
Delay rules. During investigation 5, The Serpent's Vengeance, players may experience an attempted delay by the guilty party to quote-unquote encourage players to stop their investigation. Very often these delays may arise when players are visiting the best leads. The delay is usually presented at the end of the encounter, and players have the option of advancing time tracker to deal with the delay. Delays may waste valuable time unless you ignore the delay and proceed as normal. However, this option may have negative consequences later. Players must decide if pressing forward is the best decision. In Investigation 5, all delays are the result of the investigators being poisoned by the perpetrator, who is trying to dissuade them from continuing their investigation. The poison is not fatal. By the way, we can't die in this.
Okay. Good to know.
Keep track of what locations players experience a quote-unquote delay situation and the decision players made upon encountering each delay. That's something to write down. What are delays? Because it's probably going to keep track of how many delays. So if you do like 1 through 5, or however many. Investigation complexity. Armitage speculates, unless there are no surprises, I foresee myself visiting between 8 and 13 locations to answer most questions. However, we are dealing with someone who has the audacity to use poison, so I would tread lightly. Be careful. Please wrap up your investigation by no later than day 5 afternoon. So, we have 3 spots per day, and yeah. Now we can start. So we're in Arkham, Massachusetts. All right, Serpent's Vengeance. The citizens of what?
I was just seeing if I was on the camera.
No, but not your face.
Just my boobs.
Yeah. But it's not there yet. Right now, it's just like the title thing. Okay. The citizens of Arkham took to Nordwell's traveling menagerie, creatures, fairy, and fowl-like flies to a corpse. Oh, there's a picture of a stagecoach and horses. So, just to give you background. And the lady with umbrella looking all fancy. Alright. Nordwell Zoo landed in Arkham a month ago, operating on the north end of Independence Square, and soon became a focus of conversation for old and young alike. You have been meaning to give the traveling zoo a visit when you hear a curious statement by a stranger. You are enjoying this morning's tea at your local bakery while perusing the Arkham Advertiser. That's the newspaper things that are over there. When a gruff man loudly announces his disappointment upon learning that Nordwell's gates were shuttered due to an unforeseen incident. Took me kids all the way up there, and what's this? I said to the guards at the gate. We had spent half the day walking to get there, and I insisted they pay me money for a return cab ride home. They said they had to close due to a problem with their snakes. A tingle wiggles down your spine. Snakes are not something you find pleasant. What are we, Indiana Jones now? Anyways. Within minutes, a newspaper boy stops his bike in front of the baker's shop, dismounts, and walks to your table. Professor Armitage sent me, the boy said. It is urgent, I think. Oh, and he didn't pay me enough. You got a dime? You are not a believer in coincidence, but certainly this can't have anything to do with an unexpected closing of Nordwell's. You give the kid a dime and shudder at the thought of snakes running loose in the zoo. A summons from Armitage is not lightly ignored, and you hail a taxi and make your way over to Miskatonic University. Armitage is pacing about, his cane tapping on the floor at each turn. If it is not about the snakes, then something beyond the ordinary is bothering him. He is deep in thought, so he does not glance your way before speaking. I called you here because there was an incident at Noble's Menagerie last night at 6 a.m. At 6 a.m. in anticipation of the day's visitors, a groundskeeper unlocked the breezeways of the reptile house to allow fresh air to circulate when he screamed in horror. Inside were housed over 100 snakes of various species. The snakes were out of the cages and lying lifeless in a heap. Strange thing, wouldn't you say? A policeman has called, but I doubt he took much interest in dead snakes. However, I think something sinister is in the works. I will hold off making too many guesses yet as to what, but we must get to the bottom of this, even if it is just a cold-hearted prank. You sigh. You're not sure that the following up on dead snakes is a good use of your time, but you are willing to humor Armitage. He obviously sees something you do not. Armitage takes a seat at his desk and arranges violets in a vase. Not one other creature in the reptile house died. Inside the same building are lizards and other creatures, all unharmed. It all seems so unusual, so I will only mention a few minor facts as to not lead you astray. Armitage pauses, as if considering his next words carefully. You'll probably need to visit someone whose studies are less comprehensive than my own, but a little more broad. There is the library, of course, but I'm not sure who else. Oh, that wasn't him talking. That was you know who else but Armitage. Maybe? I don't know. There are some typos here. But anyways, you know who else, but Armitage will not mention his name. You smile and say, should I talk to Pascal Fenton then? He is the leader of like the cult stuff. He's our
like every game.
He's our well, yeah. There are a set number of places we can go to that always, like Armitage and the cops. Mm-hmm. He is our inside source to the occult. He growls at you and barks, Fenton, I don't see why you should. Anyway, time is wasting. I see some urgency here. Perhaps you do not. You may gain something if you talk to Garrison. He's a police officer. It may be futile, but you never know. Also, the snake carcasses were sent to a zoologist, I believe. Find out where we can find this man. Find out where we can find this man. I believe he now runs a pet store. And finally, I believe the zoo purveyor, one Miss Nordwell, is staying at the Harding boarding house. I asked her to send over dust particles discovered on the snakes to Science Annex. Could be that a poison was used, so be careful if you meet anybody suspicious. Look out for anyone who is acting peculiar. Also, I found it interesting that there are no reports from the hospital of snake bites. One would think that attacking that many snakes would be very dangerous. So,
Snake people.
Is there no paper?
it's Yig. Is there no paper? You're holding the papers.
Oh, is there no new ones?
These are like, this is September and in January.
So like this date.
Apparently not. Well, check the backside.
No. This is the old one.
No.
Oh wait, September and August are here. So we can, because we're in October.
June, August.
This is January. Oh, October 21st. There we go.
Okay.
I found it weird. October and January so. All right. So now we get to do this whole thingamabobber, and decide where we want to go. There's a map, places, and things. And all right. So you have the directory over there.
Yep.
So I guess the zoologist is a place to go. Oh, the pets. Is there? But we don't know where the pet store is.
Or how many.
There's probably one.
Should we check out Miss Nording at the Harding house?
At some point. She's probably like really shady.
There's one pet shop.
There's only one!
Only one pet store?
Only one pet shop.
Oh, let's go there.
Sure, I'll go there.
That is M19.
So make sure at least one of you guys is keeping track of, since I don't have paper, that's what I'm saying out loud. Make sure you're keeping track of how many places we go to. And how many different, so like write down like one and then a location.
Mm-hmm.
So where'd you say we're going?
Pet shop, M19.
M19, somebody wants to, I think it's up there.
N or M?
Mike.
M. Oh, yeah, it was really, alright. So how you use this book is basically you just flip through and they have the letters there. And you read, look for the numbers, letters. Merchant District, M19. Time requirement. If you arrive here before the 4th day on the time tracker, the doors are locked. You may not continue reading below. However, if you arrived here on after...
Well,
Fuck.
at least we know.
So, are we going to count that or are we going to mulligan it?
We'll play it by ear.
Yep, we just go there.
You should just count it.
Yeah, we should. Alright, Gerardo!
Awesome.
So is it like one visit is like one
Yep.
part?
So now we're going in the afternoon. Here, use the bookmark.
That's like really upsetting.
Let's see. So where else?
Wait, what do you want me to look at?
Was it 4th day, afternoon on the 4th day?
Yeah.
Where is Pasquale?
Pasquale?
Pasquale.
So just remember where he is.
No, he has the thing.
Oh. I was like, whoa.
L4.
Do we move this? Or just like...
I mean, we don't need to have that. That's just for us. Like, we'll eventually use those as, like, hey, this is a good way to poke, remember locations. Be like, oh, what was
We're
this?
going to L4, sure.
There's a merman sighting.
There's a what? A merman sighting?
Yeah.
What type of cookies are these?
Chocolate and then peanut butter chip.
Pumpkin?
No.
Wait, I want one. You know, we're into pumpkin season, so you guys better buckle your seatbelts. That's about to start.
Awesome. Lower Southside District. L4.
Do you know what?
The cab driver drops you off at Pasquale's home. You tell the cabbie to come back in a couple of hours to pick you. Send Carlo if he's available, you say. Pasquale is at his door ready to greet you. Inside, you're immediately repulsed. Desiccated cadavers hang from spikes on the walls. The stuffed bodies of various exotic animals stand in each corner, and the whole room smells of formaldehyde, rot, and a strange floral potpourri.
Potpourri. Potpourri?
Potpourri. As if trying to mask the odor. A large oak desk dominates the center of the room, and Pasquale directs you to it, taking his place in a large plush armchair behind it. He's veritably grinning with delight. You get straight to the matter of your visit, telling him about the dead snakes. Did Armitage mention anything to you about Yig? If not, then he is getting slow in his wits. It's Yig, the Snake Lord. Grinning, Pasquale pulls an object out of a desk. It looks like a club, the sort of which a British bobby might carry. Only, it's carved with intricate motifs and painted with odd markings. Fastened to it are a number of dyed and painted snakeskins, and hanging from the skins are an array of feathers of various bright colors. This is a Central American spirit fetish, directly associated with ancient gods of both the Aztec and the Mayan cultures. It passed through several hands prior to its coming to me. Those hands thought it was a fetish of Quetzalcoatl, or some other similar Central American deity. Pasquale indicate a series of black hieroglyphs near the bottom of the club. These markings are pertinent to an ancient power which held sway over the ancient Mesoamerican civilizations. predating the Mayans by at least a millennium. It is possible that echoes of this power were heard by the Aboriginals of Australia. Pasquale waves the fetish at you, his eyes wide with delight. Yig! He exclaims. The ancient snake god! He deftly puts his fetish away, slamming his desk drawer shut with a flourish. Then he leans in conspirationally, close enough to catch a whiff of his fetid breath. You know, there are theories that the Christian association of Satan with the serpent stems from the influence Yig had over ancient cultures. He laughs, and his laughter makes your skins crawl. I've heard that nothing happened to the snakes at the Nordwell Menagerie. Someone killed all those snakes deliberately, and just as Yig is staring at his lumber. However, the culprit may very well have misinterpreted the text. Is Yig interested in men's petty dealings? Do you understand? It may be that the attention has been drawn of lesser beings and of humans who worship Yig. I suppose to a degree, the old god's attention may be turned to us, and for that reason alone, the minds of those bearers are altered. Yig is powerful, you know. These bearers may even become snakes over time. But it is not a purposeful act of Yig. If we do ever get Yig's full attention, we will absolutely know it. Pasquale laughs again. You mentioned a text, you ask him. What text? The Necronomicon, of course. Someone is reading it or parts of it. That is the real danger here. Where did they get the pages? That's it.
I don't know where they get it.
If you have requirement card 2, proceed to supplemental encounters on page 1. But we don't.
You never know those.
No. We get to come across one. Cool. So he told us that it's Yig. Which is, yeah.
We didn't need him to tell us that.
No. Cool.
Where do you want to go? So it's always a group decision, but whenever you get the book, it's your final decision.
I mean, like you mentioned, someone's reading Necronomicon, which the link would be in the library. Where
Unless it's
they
like hidden
mentioned-
in the university. That's the
That's
only
true.
other thing.
Because
But
I remember in the rundown that you read, it mentioned
Yeah, you mentioned
the library, but
it
if
wasn't
someone's reading it, it's probably not there.
Yeah.
Oh,
and the errata, the only thing they put for the errata is just one character's location is missing. So whenever we come across it, or if we mention it, I want to. So there wasn't much errata here for this one. So that's good. I mean, there's we went to the pet store.
you can't go back until the 4th day.
Yeah. I mean, we can't go back to this point.
Well,
It's not good for us to do that. I mean, I wasn't taking notes, so you could go to Garrison, the cop, which.
Or the boarding house. With
Yeah.
The woman, the Nordwell's woman.
Mhm.
Or if the book was in the library, they might have like an idea
Who
if you
checked it.
stole it or checked it out.
Yeah. So those are our options, unless Brian has found something else in the paper.
I think the library might be a.
Okay, where's the library? Brian, do you want to be?
I'm also.
This is my first time using this book, so.
Yeah, usually isn't Brian?
Yeah, do
Yeah,
Brad,
but
you
usually-
didn't give
so
them
you
chance.
Because Brett's
Let's just
usually.
say, I'm not usually the paper.
Brett's
That's
usually.
the paper.
I mean, you guys can switch if you want.
Maybe under.
University?
So the first half
Yeah,
has
library's
everything
pretty good.
alphabetically. The second, the back quarter is everything listed government facilities, but it's categorized in a special way.
The library is always in a weird spot.
Shut up, I'm bored.
There's the Arkham Public Library, but that's not
I guess the university library is the other one. So that's the question: do you want to go to the public or university library?
I think the university would be the one that would have the Necronomicon.
University.
Oh, the one library. C-23.
Dun, dun, dun.
Isn't it the
You think? What do you mean? It's either. What does it say in the book?
Oh wait, we go to.
Oh.
So that's anything past there.
Anything-
Oh, okay.
yeah. Is there anything there? Is it short?
Yeah.
Damn it.
Hey, at least he gets a. His was a location. Mine's like no, not yet.
Miss Sergeant furrows her eyebrows and purses her lips. Ritual killings of snakes, maybe? That sort of information is scarce, she says. You don't respond. Instead, you run off to the bathroom and vomit. Delay. You may rest by advancing the time tracker one additional space forward, or you may press on, ignoring the sickness, and continue as normal.
Ignore.
And then there's a C23A, which is that
Oh.
I
This
think.
might be in the back of the.
Wait, hold on.
page 100 for.
So if we delay,
We have to move it ahead one more before we can do anything.
and then or we press on, which is
And we just take.
Is it just like a big letter, or is it just like is it just like the C20?
It's C23 and then just like
Oh, C23.
C23.
That's Armitage's office. So 320. All right, special location. Armitage's office is C23A.
Okay.
Is inside the library, which is C23. So that's a different location.
Okay.
So do we want to delay or press on with our poison and sickness?
so.
How much delay did it say?
One advance one.
So wait, what happens if we
It just delays it.
Blows
Yeah,
it.
It's more of a question is what happens if we don't delay.
Yeah. If we're suddenly sick of being kind or something.
So
Yeah.
we have to write down, hey, we've been poisoned once.
So we got to the library and so.
I think we're early enough that we can delay, just in case that happens.
We'll let the current player decide.
I think we should delay. Just
All right. Abby, where do you want to go now that we're no longer delayed? But make sure people write down that we got poisoned at the library.
Nordwell's boarding house.
Okay.
Nordwell? What was that?
I mean, it's
Pardon.
Harding's bar, but Miss Nordwell is there.
Gotcha.
Where is that location?
10:15.
And like no.
you're keeping better notes than me. So just,
Yeah, the paper didn't seem to have.
Yeah, feel free to peruse the paper.
Sometimes there's other little things.
You can look back into old papers. You can't look at future papers.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Alright. N16. Oh, N15.
Which is it?
N.
15 or 16.
15.
Okay.
Dude. I mean, obviously it doesn't seem like there's
Thanks.
much here, but there's like these this little quote about snakes. Should they just put that in as like
Some of it's flavor, some of it is clues.
okay?
I mean,
I don't know.
there's a lot of locations that we never go to for each thing.
Maybe that's where we find the cards.
Yes, I mean, yes. You go to location to get the yes. That, bravo.
You figured it out. Corrected. Okay. Harding House is a 4-story white frame building with light gray trim, a matching gray picket fence, and a well-kept yard. A wide stoop leads up to the front entrance where you find yourself in a small foyer. William Harding is not present, but a tiny, copper-skinned woman sits in a box office and she greets you. After you tell her your purpose, she rings a bell. Miss Norville comes down and takes you to a sitting room on the first floor. She looks haggard and distressed. You get the impression she's always in a vexed state. Quote, I have enemies, sure, at least 2 who are angry and resourceful enough to do something like this to me and my babies. She smiles at your reaction to the turn of phrase. What? You think I don't care about my animals? That they are nothing more than a source of income for me? Well, that is true, yes, and the money I invested over the years on those snakes constitutes a devastating blow. But all of my animals, from Icarus the kestrel to Simeon the viper, they are also my children. That's great. All 112 of those lovely serpents were a part of me. As for Miss Nordwill's enemies, the mayor of a city in Ohio fined her again and again over capricious permit requirements. His name was Stan Cranston. Perhaps the police or the library can find his information and verify what I tell you. The other, more likely enemy was a former partner of hers named Guillermo Vasquez, with whom she parted ways a few years back. but who sometimes shows up to pester me for cash or favors. Town Hall might possibly know where Vasquez resides. Miss Norwell is aware of the ancient deity Yig. You suggest that the act may have been ritualistic in nature. Miss Norwell scoffs. I have been confronted regarding my supposed imprisonment of living creatures. I love the children of the earth the same as this Yig does. I believe all things are sacred, even the evil creatures of this world and beyond. You thank Miss Norwell for her time and offer your condolences. Then you move on, but you feel very sick. Delay, you may rest by advancing the time tracker one additional space forward, or you may press on, ignoring the sickness, and continue as normal. I'm gonna ignore it.
All right.
Proceed.
Weird.
Guess she's not Yig.
What happened to the
But
poison
she
pipe?
refers to them as
We don't know. I mean, I assume the poison is just going to be. Maybe there's probably going to be some encounter at the end where, like, if you have X amount of poison, you get delayed or something bad happens. Or at the end of the game, X amount of poison, you get minus points.
Well, did she not like it up the first guy? Or the first guy?
Multiple, like he was the mayor of the city of Ohio, and fined her again and again over capricious permit requirements.
So Garrison might be able to tell us about that.
Town Hall.
And she said Town Hall will know more about her former. Well, the book says Town Hall will know more about her former partner.
So we can see that guy or go to the police slash.
That guy.
So I think I should mention that then.
But
You mean the guy
salt
with
vinegar.
Town Hall? Or
Is
the
it okay?
third guy?
What was the guy's name?
Vasquez and Stan Cranston.
Cranston.
But he's from Ohio. Why would he be in Massachusetts?
Oh, that's true. Well, I mean, I just look up the directory.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think either of them are in here.
Okay. Well, let's go. Wouldn't hurt to look up. Look up any name you can.
That. Right. There are no cranes.
Okay.
Or baskets.
It's better to rule it out than to like, oh, where are you gonna go? Where are you taking us?
Guess we're going to Town Hall.
Are you sure you don't want to go to the Garrison, Mr. Garrison?
Well, sounds like Vasquez is the more.
Okay. Do it.
Where's Town Hall?
Town Hall is D21. Okay. You stand at the counter at Town Hall, facing a frowning Nicholas Saltonstall. I have a lot of records, and they keep up with a lot of stuff he says. In fact, I have records somewhere in the vault behind me about nearly every resident of Arkham. You hear that word? Resident. There's no way that anyone could possibly also keep up with all of the transient people who pass through the godforsaken town. Sorry. You thank Saltonstall first time. As you cross the tiled floor between Saltonstall's counter and the exit, he calls to your back. You know what, though? If this Guillermo Vasquez has any sort of clout, I'd be willing to bet either Donnie Clark or Ambrose Checkmate knows where he's around or not.
Donnie Clark?
Clark with an E at the end, and then Ambrose Checkmate. Well,
Is that it?
this might be best to check out.
Do we want to check on them or so right now? What do we have going for us? Well, we can still check out the Garrison. Did we have a location for the zoo?
The zoo, it said it was on
Independence
the
Square.
it said north side of Independence Square, so I'm assuming it's Independence.
Yeah, so we could probably go to D1. So we have go to the zoo if we want. Garrison, those two people if you want to look them up.
I mean, I'm sure they're here, but I don't know.
I see the zoo.
I don't think we should just choose one of these guys. Right
Well,
now. At this point.
at least look up their names so we can write down the location. So do we need to quickly circle back to it?
No.
Okay.
What was the Clark's name?
Donnie Clark?
Hmm.
No, Donnie
Donald?
It will just be Clark.
There is a
Comedy.
check lead. That's U18. That wasn't a random person.
I guess that's the one day.
All right, to the zoo. D1 Downtown District. Following on a hunch that someone may have recently escaped the locked ward of the What?
Oh, wait, hold up. Do we know more about what?
Maybe we can't have to do one.
I said Independence.
It said north side of Independence Square.
Operating on the north end of Independence Square.
So what? That's maybe right. We just missed a couple steps. In
Maybe
between.
there's a hunch. I don't know. Following on a hunch that someone may have recently escaped the locked ward of the sanitarium, you find yourself speaking with the nurse in the front hall.
Where are we?
I'm at D1.
That's
Go to the zoo and up at the sanitarium.
Oh.
I mean, I guess north of the sanitarium might be one of those.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I mean,
Do
I
you
figured
think
those are
so?
business fronts.
yeah. Do you think the zoo's in the actual directory? It's like traveling zoo.
Nordwell.
I'm looking at this.
I mean, we're going to D1. Completely jumped everything. We have a final answer. But like, they have random questions like, what color was this person's shoe? Like, who is this person? I don't know. D3, D67, D66. That is north.
Yeah.
Alright. Following on a hunch that someone may have recently escaped the locked ward of a sanitarium, you find yourself speaking with the nurse in the front hall. Moans are heard in the distance. The sanitarium evokes a history of horror that chills you to the bones. The nurse tells you that no one has escaped the locked ward in the past year. This, however, lends you a little comfort. Do you have inmates that are going on about, well, snakes? The nurse looks at you coldly. Well, we do have one inmate. I suppose you can see him. He has never given us any trouble. You follow her down a hall where you when you are introduced to a clean-cut man who is enjoying a game of cards in a recreation room. My kind of man playing board games. The man responds to your questions, but soon he breaks his calm demeanor. Yig is coming very soon, he tells you. He has awakened to bring destruction to this world. He will bring a new world order. Do you understand? He's not actually yelling, but I got carried away. His eyes are fixed on yours. Intense. Without warning, he erupts, standing out of his chair, screaming a few inches from your nose. Yig is coming! 2 orderlies escort you out. No zoo.
Interesting. But we definitely know that Iggy's coming. Like, we're very
6.
certain that it's
That was morning.
No, that was... So I had, and then Gerardo, and then Kyle, and then we delayed, and then Abby. Yeah, you're right. Well, this one's going to be a failure.
We don't know that yet. We thought that about last time.
We have nothing. We don't know why the snakes have died, who did it.
Wait, can I see the newspaper?
We know about Yig. I'm
Is that
going to see the cookies.
Yes,
Cookies?
This isn't.
Oh, wait, this one's it. Oh, oops. I was reading the January side. There you go.
Oh.
So I guess Garrison is one choice.
Yeah.
Wasn't this
I like Garrison because he's police as well.
that thing doesn't open until day 4?
I don't remember what it's
I mean, let's go. If we go day 4 evening, we should be fine.
Where's Garrison?
He is D32.
Let's go to D32.
Or that's the police station, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is D32. The police station. I wonder what'll happen. I wonder what'll happen.
He's out on lunch.
Could be.
Probably.
Could go to the unvisited eye.
What? Oh gosh.
That's where anyone would hide. Unvisited.
Except we visit it every game.
One side was helpful.
No, it was helpful twice, I think.
Mickey Toll takes you back to Inspector Garrison's office, gesticulating passionately as he talks. I hate snakes myself, he said. But that doesn't warrant killing him like that. It's just kind of weirdo, I bet. Some kind
Wait,
of weirdo.
what? Oh, that's not actually... Okay, that's...
Just some kind of weirdo.
Okay.
I bet. Garrison stands up behind his desk and Toll takes a place just inside the door. You inform Garrison why you're here. And he nods. Yeah, I figured Prof. Armitage would jump on this. Killing a few hundred snakes is such an unusual crime. In fact, this might be something more up Armitage's alley than ours. And as it happens, this case has taken a turn I wager the old doctor himself did not anticipate. The inspector grabs a thin manila folder from the corner of his crowded desk and plucks out a single sheet. What do you make of this? Sketched it from a witness at Arts. This is Alan Drummond. Drummond. I mean, why was he acting like this? We had one witness say that Drummond looked like he had a snake head on him, with fangs in his mouth. That's a sketch. For anyone that's... Yep. Garrison takes the sketch back. He was an electrician who had contracted with Nordwells to keep the lights on, especially the heat lamps in the reptile house. He often frequented Art's billiards after work, and yesterday walked in like he was possessed, acting very strange, although his strength was frighteningly real. The police were called, but the man would not back down, instead choosing to overturn tables and threaten guests. So Officer Blanchard was forced to shoot the fellow. We've conducted a cursory search of Drummond's house and found nothing out of the ordinary. For some reason, the staff and clientele at Arts are reluctant to speak with the police, so we've made little progress there. Oh, and if you want to see it, Garrison says as you're leaving, the corpse itself is with Dr. Sutton at the hospital.
So this is where we should have went to first. It's like, here's all the options. Anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. And we didn't get delayed.
Nope.
So Kyle can go everywhere.
So Drummond does have a house, and then where was the body? Was with
Sutton in the library?
At the hospital?
Yeah, hospital. The library.
You know, just keep corpses and books there.
And then he hangs
And then
out
there's
at...
the bar.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Alright,
But if he's dead, I mean, I guess you still get to find out information about him.
I think going to his house and searching there.
Well, they said they went already.
Right.
They said they didn't find anything, but that was them. They're not
Yeah, they're
like
not
as
like-
good as us.
Or they're trying to tell us, don't waste another turn.
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
How do you guys think?
I say the house is last on
Of
all
those
those.
three, yeah.
Yeah, of
Okay.
all of them. But I mean, do you want to try to check out the body? Go to his house. Oh no, go to his after billiards. After noon billiards. Is it billiards?
Yeah.
Arts building.
Alright, so let's go check out the body.
Yeah.
I think, which was where? Sorry.
The hospital.
It is quite hard to get these carbon cards.
Yeah.
Does the hospital have a name? It's not just this. It's a hospital.
Miss.
Is it Miskatonic?
I mean, there might be University Hospital, but towards the back, I don't know how far you are. It has like all like the buildings
okay,
listed,
yeah.
but like everything should be listed in the front of the directory, including me.
Oh, that's right. You're...
House we know definitely isn't part of the story.
Yeah. So if you ever think about going to, I think it was M11. I think M11's my giant mansion.
They should have written you in.
Yeah.
Dropped a couple $100.
I wasn't sure if I should put like an out of place name or like a real name or
What
like
name did you put in?
my name,
Adam
Dork.
Dorf.
So I was like, I don't know if I should like break the or like get like some fancy like Francis Cthulhu. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, it would be awesome. You can't find it?
Well, there's St. Mary's Teaching Hospital, and then Science Hall and School of Medicine.
Check under university if there's a.
That is
yeah.
under university.
Okay. There's gotta be. There's probably a university and a regular hospital.
Yeah, but I mean...
There's a floating here.
Maybe I go. No, I mean the only other thing is
'cause
we can look up where Sutton lives and.
She's not in here. There's no Sutton. There's a Solon. There's no Sutton.
Who was that?
That was where the body was left with Sutton at the hospital.
So we just go to the hospital.
Weird. We haven't gone to the Arkham Yellow Cab Company. And it's listed as a.
What is the hospital?
Yeah, I'm seeing there's some here. Sanitarium.
Where is the hospital? Oh,
Is it the universities?
no.
Mr. Vincent Sutton is a trauma surgeon and chief pathologist at St. Mary's Teaching Hospital, C11.
Seal.
If any investigations involve injuries or victims, he's the man to visit.
I think it's C11.
All of our investigations involve injuries. And
All of them but ours.
Oh.
What? What?
I might know where the zoo is.
Where? Does it say?
Well, here it has other locations. Independence Square is D11.
oh,
Oh.
D1 is specifically
interesting.
the sanitarium.
Well, then
Yeah,
that's.
another-
See, there's D1.
Yes.
This is meant to be D11.
Yeah.
That's a huge typo on their part. Jesus
That's
Christ.
surprised they didn't catch
So
it.
maybe we should just, like,
We'll figure it out.
count it, you know.
And map correction. Independence Square appears as D11 in the directory and as D1 map, which is correct. D11. Uptown Park on the
We gotta look
U67.
that up. Yeah.
Do they sell a
There are 2 locations labeled M1 on the map. Which one's correct?
Do we have a printable file? Correct.
Bandcraft Arms.
Yeah, that changes a bit.
Oh, well.
That's so annoying.
Rotary Club. Alright, well, go for it.
Alright.
You're going to the right location.
Campus District, C11. The front desk clerk motions you down a stairwell into a room where Dr. Sutton is conducting an autopsy, and the morgue is strong scent lurks, barely masked by lying antiseptic. Dr. Sutton waves you over to a table where a shadowy corpse lies under a cloth. Sorry about that, I was just finishing up with Mr. Drummond here, Dr. Sutton tells you. I've never seen anything quite like it. His anatomy is altered. I can't tell if it's organic or from self-mutilation. Do you know my good friend and retired professor of zoology, Dr. Luttrell? The good professor and I sometimes converse about biology, and I told him about the tumors I found on Mr. Drummond's brain, which extend into his nasal cavity. Luttrell becomes very cautious, very curious, and I let him briefly examine the body. He laughed and told me that he didn't know any better. He'd say that they appear similar to growths in snakes' brains, something called Jacobson's organ. That probably doesn't help you, however. I heard the deceased was at Art's Billiards the night he died. I can definitely say his odd behavior had something to do with the tumor, or whatever it is. As soon as you exit the hospital, a wave of nausea causes you to veer to a park bench. You feel sick as if you've eaten bad food. Delay. You may rest by advancing the time tracker 1 additional space forward, or you may press on ignoring the sickness and continue as normal.
No close. Again.
So I mean, we only have like 1 full day left.
Mm-hmm.
So
At least we know where to go to talk about snakes and not just a pet shop. Forget the zoologist name.
Dr.
There's-
Luttrell.
Not in there?
Luttrell.
Oh, LU2.
Yeah.
I mean, that might be the zoologist. That might be the history man.
Could be.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm the director.
Where was
He's very familiar with.
What was the pet store?
The
That's
pet store
was
was
it-
M19.
I think we should. We should press on. I don't think we should rest.
Alright, where are you taking this, Abby?
Go to the zoo?
I guess are we gonna like just go to the actual zoo this time? Like
I don't know.
are we gonna count it as a turn to go
Yes.
Yeah. We found out some information at the sanitarium.
We know it's this crazy kid guy.
Yeah.
Alright,
I
so
would go.
the zoo is. What do you guys think?
It's D11.
I think the zoo's worth going
I don't know.
I mean, so our options are the zoo,
The bar.
the bar.
I think
Pet shop.
bar.
We can't
Not
go to the
yet.
pet shop
to.
yet.
Well, you know what?
Oh.
Doesn't matter. I just
It's
saw
day
that
3.
There is
Right.
no D11 in here. The page it's on. There is no zoo stuff. So.
Okay.
So
His house.
Yeah, his house. And there wasn't the trout.
I think Inky is that much. I think that's right. Maybe. Hopefully.
So our options are
Arts. Where's it?
Art Drummond's house,
Arts Builder. That's it.
Drummond's house, Dillard's, or Ambrose Sheckley, right?
What was Ambrose again?
He was the one I got.
He was the one at Town Hall said we probably know where Bass Quest is.
Yeah. Because I didn't find it quite.
Yeah.
Unless.
This one's hard.
There's always friendly and verbose Arlo Hoppin as a dispatcher and cabbie for the Arkham Yellow Cab Company, D34. You'd be surprised who he meets during the course of his normal workaday job. He's also quite talented musician, I'm sure, as he'll tell you. That's another option that's listed here. Not saying you have to go there, but
Well, if we went to Arts Billiards, what would we even be like looking for?
Because that's where he died. The night
see
he
like
was-
how he was acting, what people like the bartender, people like, hey, what's up with this guy? Oh, he was never acting this way, or he was drunk, or maybe he was saying something, mentioning somebody's name.
Yeah, as I say, maybe he talked to somebody before.
Maybe he spilled the beans on Yig.
I guess we'll just go there. What's the number for that?
D15. If it's
Jesus. It's a lot of text.
what is it?
Okay. Arts Billiards is usually a busy, bustling place. During the day, professional billiards players hunch over the tables preparing for tournaments. The after-work crowd is rowdier. However, today, Arts is only at half capacity, and the uneasiness in the place is palatable. Art is a squat, hairy man who perpetually sucks on a stinky cigar. When he comes out to meet you, he brings with him a tall, lanky man in overalls and a newsboy's cap, as well as a female waitress. Art introduces the two who are accompanying him, a hustler who calls himself Bizbaugh, and one of the billiard hall employees, Lisa. Both of them were here when Drummond showed up, Art says. Lisa's the only worker who didn't quit, and Bizbaugh is my only regular who's come in since. What a jerk, that Drummond. Could have run me out of business. You sit all three down, and they give you an outline of the events. Art was in the back room, Lisa was in front serving food and drinks, and Bizbaugh was liberating money from a few Harvard kids. Drummond came in the front door, slamming it open. Lisa and Bizbaugh both immediately recognized him, and not just because of his jumpsuit and the label on it. Alan Drummond was a good friend of Bizbaugh's. There was something about him, Lisa says, which made me feel uneasy, like it wasn't Alan at all, but it looked just like him. As patrons and staff fled, Lisa fetched Art, and Bizbaugh stepped forward to confront his friend. Alan flung him aside as if he didn't recognize Bizbaugh. That's strength, Bizbaugh tells you. It was like nothing else. Turn the place clam bake. He threw chairs and smashed tables. I'm lucky I got off with just a couple bruises. We're all lucky I was the one who took the biggest hit, except of course for the Carthy kid. Who was Carthy and what happened to him? He was hell-bent on Will Carthy, no doubt, Lisa interrupts. He came in, tossed Bizbaugh, and then went right for Will.
What's his name? Will.
Will Carthy, Carthy. You ask them if they told Inspector Garrison about how Drummond was focused on Carthy, and they all shake their heads. No, Art explains. I don't think we've had a chance. It just didn't jive. We were dazed for so long after the incident. I still don't know what to think. He also bit Will in the shoulder. I swear I saw that, and he lifted a pool table over his head. We all saw that. I still can't believe it. They finished by telling you how Alan Drummond came to be standing over Will Carthy with a very heavy pool table held above his head, a table which, had it come down on Carthy, would have probably killed him. Fortunately though, at that moment Officer James Jimmy Blanchard entered, pistol in hand. He called out, and when Drummond turned to face him, still holding the table aloft, Blanchard took his shot, putting bullets into his chest and head. He thanked the three of them for their help, and whispered to Art, I sure could use a drink, however legal it might be. Suddenly, however, your stomach rolls. You are not feeling well. Delay. You may rest by advancing the time tracker one additional space forward, or you may press on, ignoring the sickness and continue as normal. Obviously, we're
All right. So you gonna check out the person who got bit, or
Probably. I'm thinking so.
And now the pet store should be open as well, if we have time to make it there.
I mean, I can do it my next turn unless he turns up something awesome.
Evening or afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Will Carthy.
What number's here?
N75. Okay.
Going to the right places. That's good. Maybe it'll make up for like the first half of going to everywhere wrong.
Okay. Will Carthy lives in a relatively isolated white frame house toward the end of Bennett's Lane. All the houses out this way are darkened and quiet, and Carthy's house, along with those of his neighbors, overlooks the dark, lush silence of the north side park. You can hear the lapping of waves in the Miskatonic River, which runs its course at the far end of the lane. You knock on Carthy's front door and hear the sound of someone shuffling around inside. Who is it? A male voice calls. At first you think he'll hide or just tell her to go away, but then the locks and chains on the door rattle and it swings open. A young, well-dressed, handsome man greets you with a hesitant smile. In the room behind him you see a sparse but comfortable sitting room lit by candles. You notice that all the curtains in the house are drawn. He does not invite you in. Instead he makes a little bow and says, "Please give my regards to Mr. Art and tell him I'll be back to have dinner and a game sometime later in the week. You understand I am reluctant to revisit a place where I very likely could have been killed. Also, if you see him, tell Officer Blanchard I said thank you. He saved my life." When questioned regarding his relationship to Alan Drummond, Carthy pauses thoughtfully and stares off into the distance. "I didn't know him," he says. "I have no idea why he was attacking me, unless it was about Amelia Picard." You press Carthy, and he indicates that he'd seen Alan Drummond at a distance, flirting heavily with a debutante named Amelia Picard, who worked part-time at Arts. "There was only one time that I saw him, but once was enough. And then a week or so ago, I escorted Miss Picard back to her home, just not far from here. It was late, and my intentions were honorable. Nothing transpired between us, and her father, Mr. Picard, thanked me for my courtesy. I didn't see Mr. Drummond at Arts that night, but perhaps he caught wind of my deed. Finally, you bid him goodbye, and he looks relieved. He shakes your hand, and then steps back into his house and waves farewell. When he does this, a silver medallion slips out of his vest, dangling on his chest for a moment. He frowns, shoves it back under his garments, and shuts the door. Then, as you're heading back down Bennett's Lane towards Arkham property, you catch a whiff of an odd scent. One that smells distinctly like some sort of unripened nut or rancid bean. This scent is located on your fingers from the same hand that shook hands with the Will Carthy. Take requirement part 4. You see a man outside Carthy's home watching it. When he sees you leave, he takes off running, but it's too late. A small totem, or fetish, is on the ground. It is a warning, and you begin to feel nauseous. Delay! Blah, 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 blah.
You taking it?
Taking it as in...
Are you taking delay or no?
Hell
Okay.
Wait, so what are these cards?
Basically, there's sometimes you'll get to a point it's like, if you have requirement 4, continue reading. That's essentially what it is. Alright, I guess I'm going to the pet shop now.
That's the only real need from this guy, right?
I
Yeah.
think so. What was the pet shop again?
M19.
N or N?
M like moo.
Moo. Interrupting cow.
Todd. Pick card.
Alright, so that's this. M19. If you're here on or after day 4, you may continue. So you could have done in the morning. All right. Dr. Luttrell is retired. Dr. Luttrell is retired from the university. Now, he and his wife operate a small pet store. As you open the front door of the pet store, the dogs inside bark too loud. You catch the coppery smell of blood, and a policeman grabs you from behind. Mickey Toll has a hand on his pistol. "Don't go in there," he yells. You've already stepped inside. Lying on the floor are the corpses of several mid-sized dogs, and seated in a chair behind a desk is an elderly woman. In the back of the room is Dr. Luttrell, still holding a dog in each of his oversized hands. The hands themselves are covered in blood with black decayed fingernails. Both dogs are injured and yelping in the hands of their deceased master. An hour later, you're sitting on the porch steps with Mickey Toll. Toll's uniform is speckled in blood, and his countenance is grim. "I have a feeling these things will continue until we find out who killed those snakes. It's all related somehow. I don't know how or why." "We found this on Luttrell's body," another officer interrupts, holding up an object that looks like a billy club, except that it's carved with intricate motifs and painted with ornate designs. I can continue. Sorry. no, there's like several. That's literally the next sentence. Several cured snake skins are tacked to it, as well as a fan of feathers of various brilliant colors. All right, maybe it doesn't say. That's how it is. All right, sorry. Doesn't say. There's no picture. There's a picture of some medallion, but I don't think it has to do with this. Toll says, "I'm heading to talk to Garrison in just a few minutes. Also, if Armitage doesn't know what that thing is, perhaps Pascal will. Charged with a new sense of urgency, you leave the police to their crime scene and continue investigation. Take requirement card 2.
Oh.
Or did that come up before?
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we visited Pasquale.
Yeah, it's this one.
God damn it.
So the guy was dead?
He's dead.
So the doctor was dead. And the dogs were.
Dogs were still alive, but there was other dogs alive.
2 of the dogs are still alive.
If you have pressed forward through 3 or more delays,
Of course we have.
you find yourself too sick to continue an investigation. Your investigation immediately ends.
Shit.
Well, there's 12 questions.
Oh.
Uh-huh. You're not going to answer any of them?
Let's give it a go.
All right, question number 1.
Yeah.
What is the name of the man who attacked the patrons of Arts Billiards?
Drummond.
Drummond.
1 point.
2. What is the name of the snake's killer? Oh, sorry, snakes apostrophe killer. Oh.
Oh.
3.
We can give it a guess, guys. We
Yeah.
can give it a guess.
Go for it.
It could be Will Carthy.
Yeah, it could be Will Carthy, it could
Or-
be Vasquez,
What was her name?
Norwell.
I don't trust her.
No.
Well, why should kill her snakes?
Who's the person?
No, not the late old lady. The debutante.
Oh,
Oh,
Picard.
the
I think he could be Will Carthy. Because after being attacked, he could have gone and
I'm trying to. I wonder what that
snakes.
smell was.
Yeah.
Yeah, poison. Probably he's making poison. Do we want to guess Will Carthy?
I think Will Carthy would be
Especially
the
if
best guess.
3. Who manufactured the poison to kill the snakes?
Oh.
Will Carthy?
Will
Let's-
Carthy. Unfortunately.
To what sinister purpose were the snakes killed? Probably to bring Yig.
Yeah, to get his
Yeah.
attention.
To resurrect Yig.
The misreading.
Sure. Yig related something.
5.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of the fetishes you might have found around Arkham?
Well, if we did.
I don't know. Maybe like their protection?
No, because it's the semblance of Yig, so it must be like.
That sounds more like a warning.
Right?
They did say something like that. For warning. For,
I mean, the one we got. I mean, we found one here at the pet shop, which means sounds like they kind of died. And then we found the one outside of Will Carthy, which was it said specifically was kind
Cut the ward off, or maybe it's signal Yig has been here.
of something.
Or maybe it was like markers, like here claim this body or something.
But Pasquale also had one. I think he was very excited about it.
Oh, but he got.
Oh, fair enough.
So are we agreeing that's marking dead or warding off dead? Or something else?
Not, I wouldn't say warding off. That's
Yeah.
Kind of like a ritualistic marking?
Yeah.
What is the... Oh, no, already read that.
Is this 6?
Yes, 6. What are the names of the 2 people Miss Norwood named as possible subjects?
Oh, we actually.
And other guy.
Gunston?
Cranston.
Oh, yeah.
What kind of poison killed the snakes?
Bad poison.
Yeah, I don't know.
What did it smell like on the guy's hand?
Bee fermenting bee, like
Beans
rancid
or nuts?
beans or nuts. Rancid beans or nuts. I like how it says unmistakable. Like how many people smell rancid like beans?
Well, back then, probably a lot. 'Cause they
Yeah.
probably didn't have all the junk food we have. I mean, if they had this, they're like, here's some nuts.
Mm.
I think the poison was raid. Just a can of raid.
They'll look really back in time.
All right, question 8. To which organization does Will Carthy likely belong?
Like probably.
Oh, I have no idea.
Cult of Jaegers. I don't know.
Alright, 9.
9. Name as many of the 4 ingredients used in manufacturing of the poison as you can.
Beans.
Nuts. Poison.
Some kind of liquid beans?
Hemlock?
I don't know.
Hemlock is poison.
Yeah, but I don't know. Arsenic?
Question 10. What eventually happened to Officer Jimmy Blanchard?
Oh, God.
What? His story continues? Interesting.
Where was Jimmy Blanchard?
He's the
What
guy
was
that
that?
shot.
Pet shop.
Yeah,
No, he wasn't the pilot.
No, he was
No,
the guy
he
who
shot.
killed Drummond.
Yeah, he
and
shot.
he was
Yeah.
at the
Oh.
police station.
Maybe he killed the person. He killed Drummond because it doesn't ask who killed Drummond.
Oh.
So what
Yeah.
eventually? Oh, what eventually happened?
Yeah.
But at least write down like
We know he killed him.
Killed Drummond. Maybe he gets murdered or he gets like possessed by snakes.
Who got bitten?
That is
Carthy.
what I think.
How is Pascal's fetish different from the others?
Oh, God.
The feathers?
It had stuff in the bottom?
Yeah, it said that there was like, was it like hieroglyphs on his?
There were hieroglyphs on it, yeah.
Okay.
Hieroglyphs.
And last question. According to Arlo, the cab driver.
How are you right about that?
I mean, it's just like, wow, there's a cab driver. What is the name of the latest dance craze?
What?
What is the name of the latest dance craze?
Was that it? I was gonna say, was that also
Check the newspaper.
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is the one.
I can't remember if it was in there now.
Well, I mean, if it's in the newspaper, then you don't have to ask.
Yeah, but sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the foxtrot.
What?
I don't know if that's era
Is it?
appropriate.
Wait, I remember. Read the January side. I think there was something.
Do
on
not read the January side.
But we done pet. Oh no, we
No.
No,
Yeah.
Other January.
that's January 30th, 1930, I think.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Yeah, it is.
One of the most successful dances ever sponsored. This is September. We definitely went through this one.
Yep.
Was staged Tuesday evening by Arkham's Daughters of the American Revolution Society. Delightful dance program. No, they don't actually say.
Because we didn't get it right in the cabbie.
Okay.
All right, answers. What is the name of the man who attacked the patrons in the Arts Billiards?
We got
Alan Drummond. 3 points.
that.
What is the name of the snake's killer?
Snakes.
You tell us.
I mean, are we going to want to replay this? How poorly we're going to do?
I mean, we redid it.
This is 5 points. What did you guys write down?
Will Carthy.
Oh, yeah, this is Will Carthy.
Oh, it's 5 points?
Yep.
Alright.
Who manufactured the poison to kill the snakes?
We said Will.
4 points for full name. If you only get the last name, 2 points.
We said Will Carthy.
No.
Okay, who was it?
Mike Damon.
No, I didn't.
Matt's
Wow.
brother.
Yeah. Mike Damon. To what sinister purpose were the snakes killed? To provoke Yig's wrath and or to awaken him.
Cool.
3 points.
Let's look at that.
What is the purpose of the fetishes? To bring attention/destruction upon the bearer.
Oh,
3 points.
Did we get that?
Yeah.
Yeah, ritual spades.
What are the names of the 2 people Miss Nordwill named as suspects? 2 points for each you get right. Must have first and last names.
Yeah,
I think we did.
San Cranston,
And Guillermo.
Guillermo Vasquez.
So that's 4.
4 points. So we might win this.
Well,
What kind of poison killed the snakes?
Bad poison.
We didn't know.
No, not even close. Hydrogen cyanide.
Oh,
That's 2 points.
we didn't get it.
To which organization does Will Carthy likely belong?
did we guess? Did we say guess? Yes or
I guarantee you guys will get this.
We didn't guess.
no? You go.
What is it?
The Order of the Silver Twilight.
I was going to
Oh
say,
my
should we
God.
guess the Silver Twilight? Because you had a silver medallion.
I mean, it's only 1 point. So it's not that big of a deal. Name as many of the 4 ingredients used in the manufacturing poison. It's not beans or nuts.
Cherry.
1 point for each, for every 2 ingredients you're able to name. So it's only a max of 2 points.
Cherry pits.
Prussian blue,
Okay.
apricots, ammonia, and phosphoric acid.
Huh.
It's only 2 points. What eventually happened to Officer Jimmy Blanchard? This is worth 2 points. He shot himself.
Oh.
Going crazy.
Blanchard.
How is Pascal's fetish different from the others? It is for protection, whereas the others may invoke Yig's wrath. 1 point.
Fair enough.
According to Arlo, the cab driver, what is the name of the lady who stands crazy? You guys want to just guess?
I said Foxtrot.
No. It's only 1 point.
The sweater?
No, it's called the snake.
Oh my god.
Wow.
So we have 18 points
Sweet.
minus.
All right.
minus-
If you are forced to stop your investigation because you are too ill, deduct 3 points from your score.
Okay.
You believed for a few days that you turned into a snake.
It's like slithering around the floor.
Yeah. If you
Alright.
If you visit Mike's warehouse, D47,
Didn't even hear about it.
where you saw his head explode, deduct 1 point for each sanity loss.
What's going on at the warehouse?
If you were not forced to stop your investigation due to illness, and you never chose to rest upon encountering any days, but I mean, we don't qualify for either of those.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And like, if you meet those 2 conclusions, deduct 1 point from your score for each delayed encounter. You made it through the investigation, but sickness put you in the sanitarium, and a straitjacket, of course. If you did choose to rest, even a single time, you received no penalties. So resting once
Yes.
saved us.
Sweet.
So our score is 15. Count the number of locations you visited visit at least once. How many locations?
1, 2, 3, 4,
11.
All right.
Oh.
Armitage was able to solve all questions in this case by visiting 8 locations. Deduct 1 point for every location you visit beyond 8.
So another
So we
3.
have 12.
So we have 12.
Nice.
All right. 15 plus. This is our worst one. Yeah. No offense, Kyle. We went to bad places. 15 plus points. You win. On the following page, you may view the location you visited to solve this case.
No.
If you scored 21 plus points, excellent. Armitage tells you to take the morning off. Your next investigation starts in the afternoon instead of the morning.
Were we supposed to take a morning off for this one?
No.
No, we never done amazing,
Gotcha.
but we've always done good.
Passable.
Fewer than 15 points. Read supplement entry 5 of this investigation. Armitage is not at his home at the scheduled time, but on his door is a note. I had to step out to attend a sick relative, but I want to tell you something that I'm unable to tell you face to face. If anything ever happens to me, please always know you are and have always been my closest friend and ally. Never forget where we started it all, and I hope that Before I leave this world, we have one last chance, with both eyes open, to conclude our adventures in the very same place. Your friend always, Armitage.
What a weird thing. Can we see where he went to solve it?
I mean, I guess. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, only read the solution when you're ready for all to be revealed. It's solution. We never use our supplements. We never use our supplements. Inspector Garrison has arrested Will Carthy for the killing of Miss Nordwell's snakes. Armitage says when you meet him in his office to compare notes on his latest investigation. I mean, technically we're not supposed to record it. No doubt with the aid from his friends at the Order of the Silver Twilight. He'll be back on the streets within the year. You notice that Armitage has a protective fetish like Faskel's now. It rests on one of his shelves in front of a row of leather-bound books. You're not going to touch that thing. It might still have poison on it. Okay, they have poison on it. The best we can hope for, he says, is that we've put a scare into Carthy. We've let him and his colleagues at the Order of the Silver Twilight know that we're onto them. We can't prove, of course, that Carthy was deliberately attempting to provoke the snake god Yig's wrath, but we certainly suspect it. And they know we suspect it. We still know exactly why they were trying to turn Yig's eyes to Arkham. Well, we still don't know exactly why they were trying to turn his eyes to Arkham, but they were. And knowing that gives us some advantage. Of course, all the knowledge in the world won't bring back poor Alan Drummond. And his rampage at Arch Billiards, as well as his consequently being shot dead by poor Officer Jimmy Blanchard, will no doubt make front page news. In fact, I'm sure Donnie Clark will come up with a clever headline or two about humans turning into snakes, although I doubt that Clark will be able to discover what we know, that the fetishes were being planted on the victims. Something bothers me still that we seem to be talking around. It would seem that poisons were causing everyone to act so strangely. Blanchard took his own life, but I saw some things that can't readily be explained unless there is a higher power involved. Ah, yes. Well, there are things we don't understand, and there may be others involved in the sinister plots, but they did not leave evidence behind. One day, however, we will be on the trail. As for the poison, well, my guess is that Mike Damon won't be manufacturing hydrogen cyanide anymore. Garrison seized Damon's property and confiscated all the ingredients. He told me in confidence that they found other possible ingredients for other poisons, some mild and others of no composition that can be identified. Damon derived chemical formulations from forbidden books, I'm sure. Maybe the Necronomicon. The downside to all of this, Armitage says, shaking his head, is that Miss Norwell has decided to pull up her stakes and move on and never return. But who can blame her? She suffered a loss that, though it pales in comparison to the loss of Drummond and the others suffered, is devastating. And wherever she goes, she's sure to be happier and safer than if she lingered here in Arkham. Armitage solved this investigation and answered most questions by visiting 8 locations. First, he went to Mr. Winslow in the Miskatonic Chemistry Department, C12. Thought poison? Kill the snakes? Since they're probably, because he saw the crime scene.
Yeah.
So he probably was like, oh, they're not cut up, so probably poison.
But you think that the first place he goes is zoologist, like we did.
Second place, Art Billiards.
So I guess the guy there just was like, you hear about this crazy dude over here?
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Then he went to the police station. Then he went to Alan Drummond's house. We didn't go there. Then he went to Pascal Fenton. Then he went to Sebastian Lyman. Who is that?
I don't even
That's
know what
the Silver Twilight guy, right?
Oh, yeah. He's a member of the Order of the Silver Twilight, but he's also a mole. Oh, okay, I thought it was something else. He's a member of this cult name only and works secretly for us. I thought Pascal was that person.
No.
He's
Pascal is just
supernatural. Then he went to Will Carthy's house and then the Harding house. Well, that supplement didn't really do anything. That was going to be like a negative thing. Be like, you failed. Or like, redo this. But yeah, that's it. We did it.
That was so weird.
That took a while.
Yeah, I mean, we stumbled a lot.
Visits. I mentioned being visited at home.
No, we did not have to go to visit it.
For once.
We should be so happy.